Washington.
This is Martin for here once again. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamari4 here once again. I'm sorry that this video is so late, but this week has been really hectic. I had a job interview this morning, and I think it went really well, but I've just been kind of in preparations for that. So I apologize for the late video, but we're going to go ahead and get started into this Love and Hip Hop episode. Now, the season is actually pretty much halfway over at this point. This was kind of a little bit underwhelming that really none of the storylines have really fully developed enough to really be close to the end at this point, unless they're just going to jam pack a whole lot of shit and drama all at once, possibly, but we'll have to wait and see for that. But we're introduced to a new character, okay, a whole new dynamic, as if the cast wasn't big enough. Jay Nix is apparently Tiara's new thing, boy toy, boo, whatever you want to call it. And he's apparently going through it with a girl named Amber, who we learn is a stripper. So I'm like, okay, how is this dynamics, the whole thing going to work? And we see how that sort of delves out at the end. He wants to have a daddy day, and his idea is to have all the fathers, him, Kurt, Jock, Scrap, and everybody else come and go to like a what are those things called, like a jump zone, like pretty much where all the kids can run around and play and have fun and whatnot. And he brings this idea to Tiara. Tiara was kind of like, I mean, I'll consider it. And she was in the confessional talking about, I didn't really too much want to have this conversation right now. I kind of wanted to introduce you to my friend Jessica Dime here, but you coming here with all this stuff, and I'm just kind of like, I guess. And my thing is, I don't see how she's been able to legally keep her son away from his father's family this way. Like, it just seems like they could easily, well, I don't know the process. I ain't even gonna pretend like I know the process. But this whole stunt that she pulling about, I'm gonna keep them away because they doing me wrong and all this other stuff. I'm like, bitch, we keep trying to drill this in, and she gets it eventually, but I don't think she gets it completely. You can't keep the father's family away from the child just because you personally don't have a relationship with them. It has nothing to do necessarily with you. It's about the child knowing his roots, where he came from, his father, his grandmother. I mean, you may have your own reservations about them, but it is important for him to know who they are. So when they're at this daddy daycare, whatever you want to call it, everybody has their kids, and they're having fun and jumping around trampolines and all this other stuff. And Scrap is feeling some type of way because he doesn't have his family there. And I understand that feeling. It's not necessarily the exact same, but when you really want something and something is affecting you, and you're in an environment where everybody around you has what you want, it really starts to affect you and make you feel bad. So he's feeling a type of way, and the guys try to come over and comfort him, and try to tell him what his baby mama's doing is wrong. And in walks Tiara and King, her son, and you could just see like his whole world just lighten up. And he was really appreciative. He said he could cry tears of joy to finally see his son, because we don't know when was the last time she actually let him see him. So it was really nice to see that, and I thought that was really dope. So K. Michelle wants to have her album listening party, right? I don't know why K. Michelle and Jocelyn, I think I said this before, want to have this, I'm going to throw an event and invite people I don't like, and it doesn't matter if they come or not. Well, I'm like, well, why would you even bother inviting them? I guess you want to stunt on them and make them feel some type of way, but to me, it just kind of defeats the purpose. I don't know. It seems irrelevant to me, but she comes over there, and she's getting her makeup done by her makeup artist, and Jocelyn comes in with the butler. Now, the butler was kind of fine, but she was like... She's like, can the butler give me a massage? I know he be putting him to use, K. And she's like, bitch, not like that. I was like, okay. And then I kind of like these. I think they're called finger waves. Finger waves on Jocelyn. They befit her. She's always looked better in short hairstyles, like bobs. Well, did she ever wear a bob? I don't think she ever wore a bob. But like the really, really short hairstyles, I think those complement her facial structure very well, as opposed to like the long weaves and whatnot. They just, I don't really too much care for that look that she be giving. But so K Michelle talks about how she wants to bring D Smith on as her coordinator or act. What does it call it? Just tour coordinator, visual. I forget the name, the official name of the title that she's trying to hire on for. But you know, she's apparently good in that field, and she wanted to talk to her about her coming on to her team. The makeup artist is like, well, y'all remember that record that I had, that I recorded or whatever, that D Smith produced? She ended up giving it to another artist and trying to say that I couldn't do nothing about it or something. I should mind my own business. And so he ended up leaking the record and shit. And apparently they just rubbed K Michelle in just the wrong way. And so they're like, well, shit, we're going to have to talk about this at this listening party. So, moving to Scrap and this whole eviction thing, I was confused. Scrappy and Jock got evicted from their property. I don't know if I blinked and missed the reason as to why they had to get evicted, but apparently Scrap still had his house in order. So he's basically like, I mean, I have a backup, but I guess Jock just threw everything into this apartment and doesn't have anywhere to go. I'm like, what? Did you not completely think this shit through? Because it seemed like it doesn't make sense that you would just up and leave. And I don't know, that whole situation didn't make no sense. And then that's when, you know, the Jay Nix guy that she was with helping her move was telling her about his ties to Tierra, and they talking about, oh, this whole circle of, you know, baby mama thing. And I'm like, this is how the show works. Why are they surprised that one dude is talking to a baby mama's dude who used to mess with this dude who fucked this dude? You know, it's like, y'all know how this circle thing. Y'all know when new people come up on the cast and the cameras is rolling and they're in the scenes, you know they're going to be a part of this whole web of hoism. On a more, do I want to call it a serious note? I guess it's a serious note. Scrap gets, you know, the news that he's going to be going away for 5 years, and he's concerned about how his family and whatnot are going to deal with it. So he goes back, talks to his lawyer, and they bring the information back to his family, and they're just crying. They doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I mean, I get it. But KK is kind of like, well, what did she do? Like, you need to get somebody better to represent you, and she not doing her job. She's like, look, this is the minimum, okay? He said, hell, it could have been 30 years, so you need to, you know, just be happy with what you got. You know what I'm saying? So, and he did make a point in his confessional where he talks about how, you know, you have these murderers and rapists out here running free, but you about to put me away for 5 years for trafficking weed. I don't know how to feel about that. Just because, I mean, it's used for medical purposes, but I guess there are drugs that are used for medical purposes that are dangerous too, that you can't sell like on the black market. So, I mean, look, if you knew the dangers of it, you probably shouldn't have been doing the shit no goddamn way. So, you can't be mad that, you know, the law is coming down on your ass for doing something that you ain't had no business. We get to this scene at the strip club. Child. Jock is there with Scrappy and Kurt. And Scrappy is trying to give, you know, his whole thing about the situation with Bambi and how Bambi's moved on and how he's kind of talking with Jessica Dime and the whole situation and the drama. And Amber, Jay Nix, current, whatever you want to call her, situation, boo, is over there throwing it back, bouncing it up and down for a real. And is giving him the eye the whole time, just ass jiggling. I'm like, okay, all right. Like, she's not even being like subtle with it. She's just looking him dead in his face and is doing this right here. I'm like, wow. So the whole time the Scrappy, is over there trying to, explain his problems and, confide in his brothers. Dude is sitting over there, Jock is sitting over there looking right past him, watching the ass do this. And then she has even more nerve to come over there and it's like, oh, can I sit right here? And I'm just like, oh, really? Really, bitch? For real? Like, so... So now she's like, she asks Jock, do you want to dance? And she starts positioning herself. Ash is out. Ash is just on full display. And Scrappy just look at it like, God. He just doesn't even know what to do. And I just thought that shit was really, really funny. And Jessica, he was feeling Scrap was feeling a type of way about Jessica Dime going back to Bambi and making that whole situation messy. Because clearly he still wants Bambi. They're engaged now, apparently. But I guess he's just kind of using Jessica Dime as a rebound piece because she kind of moved on to Waka Flocka's baby daddy or whatnot. And he's just like, shit, I need to be getting me, break me up a little piece of something. If I have to do me a FaceTime call here and there, I should be able to do that. Okay? So, listen. We get to this K. Michelle's party, right? This is where stuff got good. First of all, we can congratulate K. Michelle, on her album. I purchased the album. I think it's pretty dope. And she announced that she has the ability to sign new artists on Atlantic Records. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, props to you, Miss K. Michelle. Props to you, bitch. D. Smith and Betty Idol are in attendance. I'm not sure why they decided to come, but they're there. K. Michelle and who was she with? I think she was with Jocelyn. No, they're talking, whatever, asking, about what the thing that happened with her makeup artist, Japan, and the record and whatnot. She's like, can you talk about that? Can you, give me a little bit more insight about that? And she was like, no. Are you open to have a conversation? Hell to the fuck no. He was disrespectful and this, that, and the fourth. And she's going on and on and on. I'm just like, I mean, if you did what he said that he did, you're really not giving a full perspective on your side of what happened. Because as far as we know, you just tried to give his song over to some random new artist, which apparently was Betty Idol, which is, again, Betty Idol is highly irritating. Her whole everything is just highly irritating. And I can't deal with her really for real, but I have to for the sake of the show. And K. Michelle is like, you know what? Halfway through the way that she's talking, she's like, she just, what did she say? She was like, he can't have the song. Like, I recorded the song and like, I just did all this stuff and he tried to leak it and it's just not supposed to. And she was giving that whole nasal voice and K. Michelle's like, you know what? You're really like animated, like boom, pow. You should be on Broadway and stuff. Now, even though there's nothing wrong being on Broadway, like the way that she set that up, it did come off as shady. And it's just, K. Michelle just has that aura just to be shady. And D. Smith was trying to take it like, oh, you're not the only one that needs to be on Broadway. And the way that body be looking, like you kind of animated yourself. And I'm just like, girl, I guess. But D. Smith did get some good reads this episode. I will give her that. She did get some good reads this episode. And K. Michelle, she was asking like, so who are you? Like, what kind of artist are you? And this, that, and the fourth. She was like, I did a song with, what'd she say, Rick Ross and Lil Wayne called Thug Cry. I sang the hook or whatever. And she's like, where did it place on the charts? And D. Smith was like, bitch, don't try it. Don't you sit there and try it. Before she could even answer. So that means that you already knew. You already knew that shit probably flopped harder than a fish out of water, son. And K. Michelle just like, I was just trying to ask. And as they get all offended and whatnot. But then here's where the good part comes. Here come Bambi strolling in with Arian. Because, apparently her and Arian are friends. I missed that. People just becoming friends out of nowhere on this show. So she comes in and she sits down and she's like, of course she sees Betty Idol and D. Smith where they got into a fight with Tammy and Bambi are friends. So she's like, why am I sitting here? I'm not comfortable sitting here. And D. Smith was like, well, she's probably used to standing on 4 feet instead of her 2 hooves or whatever she said. No, she said she's probably more comfortable standing on 4 feet than 2. I was like, listen, y'all have been cackling jokes about this girl with hooves and, her being an animal and, of course, her teeth. Y'all just been running this girl through the goddamn mud. And y'all still gonna be calling her all sorts of beasts. But I was like, you know what, D. Smith, that was cute. That one, it was cute. The way that she executed it was cute. And then she followed up with it. She was like, you know what? I don't even have a problem with you. I respect you. We gonna make history. We trans girls have to stick together. I was like, you know what? That went over my head initially, but then about 20 seconds into it, I'm like, wait a minute. Did she just call baby? Y'all done called this girl a beast. Y'all done called her, talking about she got hooves, how she stands on 4 legs. And now she's trans. Y'all just running. Y'all are giving Bambi the motherfucking blues, bitch. I was like, you know what? I give her points for that. That shit was cute. But here we go again with this Tierra and KK situation. I don't understand Scrap's way of thinking. Because he tried this bringing Tommy and Tierra together for the court case. That didn't work. Now you're trying to bring the mama and, the baby mama together. Of course that didn't work. And I'm just like, I know you're going to have them to get together for the betterment of their son. But some things just ain't going to work out. Or at least not in the time that you want it to be worked out, because the shit that they got going on, it's so deep in pettiness. they can't even see their way out. So they get to talking. At first, I give it to Tierra. She was trying to be civil. She was trying to be cordial, and she just stated like, "Look, KK asked her like, do you have a problem with me?" She's like, you hate me, so anybody that hates me, I hate them back. It makes sense to me, right? So KK just took it to a whole nother level, talking to her all type of punk bitches and come across this table and I'll drag you hoe and I'll meet you outside your house. I'm like, wait a minute. This went from 0 to 100 real quick. And of course nothing got resolved. Scrap was over it. But then again, I'm like, Scrap, what the fuck did you expect? Dude. This whole, let me bring 2 people together to hash it out. No, not on this show. Not on this show where all these bitches are petty as hell. Like, that's not going to work. But that was this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop. Next week, we figure out, apparently Jocelyn finds out from the blogs or from, was it Dawn that told her about it? I believe it was Dawn that told her that Stevie has a new baby and she's telling Mimi and she's crying and whatnot. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. So, thanks again for you guys for being patient with me. I'll try to get this out sooner, and I'm actually about to record another Washington Post episode, so make sure you guys watch out for that. Check that out on my channel. If this is the first time you're seeing me, I hope you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe. Washington.